everybody, and welcome back to Movie Files. Here on our channel, we love breaking down our favorite TV shows. We react to the latest trailers. We do unboxing videos and also do giveaways to show our appreciation to you all. So if that sounds like something you enjoy, we'll definitely do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button and make sure you're hitting that notification bell so you can stay up to date with those videos. So tonight, I am here to share with you all my spoiler-free review for the remake of Pet Sematary. But before I get into my thoughts, the good and the bad, and give you my score at the end of this video, I want you guys to start your commenting now. Comment below what your excitement level was for this film. If you've seen the film, let me know if you enjoyed it, if you didn't enjoy it, if you're a fan of the book, if you're a fan of the original and the sequel that came out years after the original. Let me know in the comments, guys. But with that, let's talk about my non-spoiler review for Pet Sematary. Alrighty, so like I do with all of my spoiler-free reviews, I like to dive right into the positives of the film. And without giving too much away, a little synopsis of the film. You have this family, you have this Dr. Lewis and his family goes from Boston, Maine, into a smaller town, kind of a remote area. And they move into this new house, and they, are filling out the neighborhood, filling out the house. Some unfortunate things happen with the pet of theirs. And then, as the story kind of progresses, some things happen to one of the family members, and we kind of have the Pet Sematary coming to fruition in this film. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. Again, if you're not familiar with the source material, which I never read the book, I've seen the original movie, I've seen the sequel. I really don't remember the sequel that much. I don't really think it's connected to the first one, if I'm not mistaken. But I saw the original one when I was younger, and then I recently just watched it for the first time in like 10 plus years. Morgan saw it for the first time ever. And I'll just say this without getting too much into that review as far as the original. I'm not the biggest fan of Pet Sematary. That's just that. But I was excited to see this one. The trailers were nice. I wish one of the trailers didn't really do something that it did in the movie, because it may have been a really nice surprise that we get in this film. But nevertheless, we're here to talk about this film. We're here to talk about the positives first. So starting off the gate, performances. I walked out of this film thinking about the things that obviously that went down in the movie, but I was like, the performances across the board were pretty solid. Obviously, you have the leading man and Jason Clarke, who is not necessarily a household name, but I remember seeing him and stuff, and I really enjoy him in pretty much every film I see him in. Most recently with First Man, he was in the Planet 8 movies and so many other movies. He's a really great actor, and I thought he had a really solid performance. John Lithgow is always great. He plays Judd, which if I were to go back from the original, he was probably my favorite character in the original. I kind of, I like the things that he had to do in this film. And then it carries over to this one. I thought Judd was a really strong character in this one and played by a phenomenal actor. But I definitely would have to say my standouts in this whole entire cast. And we have John Lithgow, and we have Jason Clarke, but Amy Seimetz, I thought she was great in this film. She really kind of created the tension and the scares and the emotional moments, and had probably the most emotional scenes in the movie. She really delivered on them. And then you have the kid that played Gage. He was fine for a younger kid. I thought he was pretty solid for a kid actor. But the standout was the young girl, who I can't think of her name right now, but the young girl that's in this film is really solid. She has a lot of things to do in this film, and I thought she delivered when called upon. She has to have different ranges that she plays in this film. I thought she was pretty solid. So I'll definitely say the mom and the daughter in this film were probably my best things of this film. Some other positives walking out of the theater was I love the environment that was kind of created by the directors, as well as the atmosphere, the creepy environment. The house had a kind of a characteristics of its own, so I like those elements. The sound design was very noticeable. Obviously, when you're dealing with woods and older homes, you have the creaks and the owls and all the different noises that we get in the woods. And I thought the sound design was really strong. And overall, I thought the overall theme of Pet Sematary, something that really intrigues me about the mythology and the idea of Pet Sematary, as far as, and again, not giving too much away if you're not familiar with this source material at all, but the ideas really kind of are unique. And I like what the directors did in this one. And then there's a particular switch that they did in this film. And again, I haven't read the novel, but I know from the original, they do a switch, and I preferred the switch. It was actually a different a mindset that they did, and I like what they did with this film with the switch, because it makes more sense to have what they did in this film versus the original. It just had a little bit more emotional impact, and also what they did and some other changes they did. I just think that it worked a lot better for me, at least, than it did in the original. I can't speak on the book, but I like the twists and turns they did in this film. But with every film, with every positive, there is a negative. So now I'm going to jump into my negatives of Pet Sematary. All right, so this film clocks in at about 1 hour and 40 minutes. And, normally that sounds pretty quick. But I have to say, guys, I was pretty bored for the first half. The second half has some ups and downs, mostly ups more than downs, but definitely that first half was very generic and just bland and really kind of slowed down the momentum for me in the film. And yes, the film does kind of pick up on the back half and definitely in the third act, which I think the third act was definitely the strongest part of the film. But that first half and parts of the second half was very boring to me personally. And I love a good horror film. I love when we get some backstory, some character moments. But the moments that we got and kind of the exposition that they had in the film and some of the moments. Again, one of the things I didn't like about the original Pet Sematary, and kind of goes with this one too, is, again, I didn't read the books, but I feel like there's this something missing within this story. Like, we get these characters that really, something happens to a character. We don't understand the rules of the world of, like, why is this character haunting the family? Like, why, again, it might be explained in the book. And, you know, why are parents leaving their kids with a disability, a kid with a disability? I never got that in the original. And there's other little things that I can nitpick on, but I just really wish this film would have answered things that I didn't really get from the original, and it left, you know, questions that I just really didn't get. And again, it might be answered in the book, which if you read the book, let me know in the comments below. But it's just so many like plot holes to me in this whole, the original and this one, that just didn't sit well with me. But definitely the biggest thing for me was the first half was just boring. I was looking at my clock some of the times, just wondering when things would happen. And again, I will say, if you guys are into, you know, I say in the first half isn't that good, the third act really does pick up. And I didn't like the very last moment of the film, but up to that moment, it was really intense. It was really suspenseful. Had, you know, some decent scares, which, you know, ultimately, is this scary? For me, it wasn't. It had two jump scares that kind of got to me, but other than that, it really wasn't a scary film. But it has some suspenseful moments sprinkled in throughout. But all in all, really, that first half was really the biggest negative thing for me personally. So all in all, wrapping up this review, guys, if I were to compare which one did I enjoy more, I would say I enjoyed the remake more than I did the original, because I think the film was crafted better. And again, to each his own. The first one, to me, the original, was just the relationship between the husband and wife was weird. That child's play moment when the son, and I don't want to give too much away from the original, but when there's the last sequence in that original film, and again, the plot points and the mythology didn't work for me in the original. So I thought this film played a little better, explained things a little bit more, even though I wanted more from the mythology. I thought the performances were pretty solid. The creepy atmosphere, the performances between the mom and the daughter were great. But again, that first act for me really was just so generic and bland. And some moments in the second element too. But again, the second act and the third act really kind of bumps up my score a little bit. So with that being said, I'm going to give this film a solid 3 out of 5. And it might go lower if I see it again when it comes out on Blu-ray. Because again, I had some good moments in the film, but it was just really bogged down with some really dry, generic moments. Some very just moments that didn't sit well with me personally. But again, I'm giving this a 3 out of 5. There's some big movies out in the theater now. This weekend, we got Shazam, which you guys can see my non-spoiler review and my spoiler review of that this weekend. We saw Shazam a couple weeks ago, so we have the non-spoiler review available now, but the spoiler review will be available this weekend. Just did a review for Netflix, Unicorn Storm, so check that out. And we also have a giveaway going on right now for Bumblebee. So as far as content over the weekend, I would personally say check out Shazam over Pet Sematary. But again, if you're into a good, a horror film that has some good character moments, this might be the film for you. So 3 out of 5 for me. Let me know in the comments what you guys saw of this film. Let me know if you like this one more than the original more than this one. If you didn't like it, let me know in the comments, guys. As always, give this video a thumb up. Share this video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell to stay up to date with our latest videos. Again, keep an eye out for some more reviews coming this weekend. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.